guys, welcome to the first episode of Static Timing Analysis. And in this episode, we are going to talk about the series skeleton, STA introduction, types of timing analysis in VLSI, dynamic and static timing analysis, why STA is preferred for ASIC or SOC, how STA works so fast, need of STA concepts when the STA tool can do everything. So in today's episode, we will cover all these points and let's begin. Series skeleton. This series is tailored in a very specific way. Let me explain how. First, we will discuss about the fundamental difference between dynamic and static timing analysis. During this, I will explain how dynamic timing analysis acts as a precursor to the static timing analysis. Next, we will discuss about the various STA concepts. These are much needed when you analyze the industry standard STA tool output. These output are text only and you have to analyze them keeping all the concepts stacked into your mind. Next, we will discuss the way to deal with the standard STA tool output. What are the things that we can analytically derive or infer from the plain text outputs. We will be doing this in a very generic way and not case specific way. Next, we will dive into the text report analysis of OpenTimer STA tool. This is a free and open source STA tool that you can install in your home PC with a Linux operating system in it. I have already created a video to install this in Ubuntu Linux. The link of this installation video is given in the description. Also, I have shown a demo using this OpenTimer STA. I am also providing the link of this video in the description. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. STA introduction. In this slide, we will give you a brief introduction to the STA in VLSI. The basic STA algorithm can handle up to 10 million instances, that is 10 million gates. STA does not require input vectors and has a runtime that is linear with the size of the circuit. So like other analysis, we have to create any vector set of input signals have to be written in a such variable way that the input toggles or something like that. But in STA, there is no such thing as input vectors. This is the very beauty of STA. STA overestimate the delay of the long paths. Long means they're physically or delay wise long path. So STA actually estimates these paths in a more pessimistic way. STA underestimate the delay of the short path. If there is any short path, STA will ignore them. This makes the analysis safe, guaranteeing that the design will function at least as fast as predicted and will not suffer from the hold time violation. So here in a nutshell, we have just get the picture of STA and why it is used. So we are done with this slide. Let's move on. Types of timing analysis in VLSI. In this slide, you will be introduced to the two types of timing analysis practice used over the varied landscape of VLSI. Now we start with a chart. Timing analysis. It can be divided into dynamic and static. Now, the word dynamic means the time is involved during the analysis or simulation process. That is, we actively include time by hand in the simulation setup for dynamic analysis. That could be any dynamic analysis. Now we are specific to the dynamic timing analysis. So we are mentioning that we actively include time by hand. That means at the input, somewhere you have to run a sweep or something of time and you will get an output where the time is also be there. On the contrary, the word static means that the analysis is done in a standstill condition and no time is involved. So this is the very basic difference. So the word static means that there is no time involved, neither in the input files by hand nor in the output files. So there is no time wise sweep or something inside that. So that's why it is called static. The dynamic timing analysis can analyze the same very thing as per the static analysis, but for a very small design like an IP or a design block. So IP is from the IP vendor, or it could be a design block that in-house has been developed. Sometimes these two words means the same, but as we get these things either from outside, when we are getting it from outside we call it IP, when we develop it inside we call it block, or it could be a sub block of a large design block. Okay, so there dynamic timing analysis is used. In contrast, the static timing analysis is performed on a huge circuit such as system on chip, ASIC design, or FPGA. So these are usually very large circuits. So this is the basic difference of dynamic and static scenarios with respect to the timing analysis. We are done with this particular slide, so let's move on. Dynamic timing analysis. Let us take a short tour of the dynamic timing analysis. The dynamic timing analysis is performed using industry standard pure SPICE or fast SPICE or accelerated SPICE, starting from small design block up to the test chip level. In recent days, analog and mixed signal or co-simulation is also coming into the picture. So let's start. Advantages of dynamic timing analysis. It is very accurate. It can check asynchronous interfaces. There is no need to specify false or multi-cycle path. So all these concepts will come into the HTA concept episodes. It can be very accurate through SPICE simulation. It also has disadvantages. Analysis quality depends on the stimulus vectors. That means you have to carefully choose the input vectors, that is the toggling of all the set of the inputs and all the fixed input nodes. So sometimes some input nodes will be fixed value voltages. So all these things have to be carefully chosen. So your analysis will be very much tedious in terms of the stimulus vectors. So this is the very disadvantage of the dynamic timing analysis. Non-exhaustive and virtually impossible to check every path. So this is another, because this is not a topological way, this is a very normal circuit way of analyzing. So it is not exhaustive. It may detect, may not detect, because the vectors that is already defined by the human being, and there is no basically computer intelligence or any software intelligence is used to exhaust all the paths. So that's why it creates a block to check every possible path. It requires long run times because it involves either the true SPICE or the fast SPICE or the accelerated SPICE, but the range of the runtime varies from days to week. So it is very much time consuming. After one analysis is over, for the next iteration, you have to again wait for a long time. This can be done only up to the IP or the block level. So whether you are designing a block for that block, or when you club multiple blocks into a larger block, so in that case you can do this. Or if you are having an IP from outside, so in that case you can have the dynamic timing analysis, and all the previous mentioned points will be there. Test chip level needs fast SPICE or accelerated SPICE. As I mentioned that the test chip nowadays, for you are doing a design, and many of the design houses have a test chip unit, and they design a test chip to check the functionality of the design block, the functionality that the design block is intended to perform. So for that, the test chips are defined, all the test vectors are defined, and for such large block to run the SPICE simulation, we need fast SPICE or accelerated SPICE. These are the industry only, and I like to emphasize here that these are industry only SPICE. That means you cannot get them outside the industry. So these are very much staying inside the industry, this kind of SPICE. The next point is the SOC level analysis cannot be done. So that is the roadblock or bottleneck, whatever you call. The dynamic timing analysis cannot be used for the millions of instances, the SOC level or the ASIC level. Because if you look into this slide, there are several points that will eat up, because you cannot write so many test vectors for so many millions of instances. You cannot run them for week after week or month after month. Okay, you cannot, then you will not finish your analysis on time and you cannot tape out. So that's why you cannot apply this on the SOC level. So we are done with this particular slide. Let's move on. Static timing analysis. We have came across the advantage and the disadvantage of dynamic timing analysis. Now let us look into the same details for the static timing analysis. Advantages. Fast design is analyzed in one pass for one clock cycle. This is very much fast. Exhaustive and checks all the topological paths in the design. So basically inside the static timing engine, the computational intelligence is used to cover all the possible paths, that is timing paths in the design. From one source point to another end point, the time traversing inside these points, all those paths are exhaustively covered. Does not require the verification environment. So here we are talking about the verification environment, means the previous one. In dynamic, we need a verification environment. There we have to use a kind of set of input vectors defined for everything and blah blah blah, all those things, initializing lot of things, all these things. So all these verification environment is not needed. This is a very much advantageous. Disadvantage. It is less accurate. Must define timing requirements or exceptions. So this is another thing. Although here we do not have to define the test vectors, but we have to define the arrival time and the required arrival time of the signals. So these things we have to define. We will come across all these terms and terminologies and their meanings in their upcoming episodes. Difficulty handling asynchronous designs and false paths. So this is one thing that gives a pain a lot, because static timing analysis cannot be done for the paths which do not involve a clock for a time traversing of a signal. So all these asynchronous paths and false paths, they cannot be analyzed using static timing analysis. So we have seen both the advantages and the disadvantages of static timing analysis. We have made a contrast with the dynamic timing analysis. So we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. Why STA is preferred for ASIC or SOC? Now let us do the side-by-side comparison of dynamic versus static timing analysis to understand the advantages of STA in SOC or ASIC. So here we go. So let me bring my mouse pointer. Dynamic one, it checks the functionality of the design, whereas static checks the static delay requirements of the design. It is fully SPICE simulation based and static is fully formula based. That means it involves the computational intelligence. Highly accurate. So this is very much accurate because pure SPICE or fast SPICE with high accuracy is used, and it is more pessimistic and critical path analysis. So critical path means the pessimistic paths. Okay, this is much more kind of topological. The dynamic one has very slow runtime, whereas the static has very fast runtime. Because why this has a slow runtime? Because it will compute the actual node by node calculation through SPICE, and hence it is having a large runtime, where in STA we are using a computational intelligence to check all the possible delays and the time traversing inside a circuit. The dynamic is applicable at the IP block level, whereas the static is applicable for the full chip or the SOC level. Some of the industry standard tools like HSPICE, Spectre, Eldo, FastSPICE, all these simulators are used for dynamic timing analysis, whereas for static timing analysis we are using industry standard tools like PrimeTime SI, Tempus, ETS, all these static timing analysis tools. Input files. So it requires SPICE models, the circuit file, the SPF or DSPF for the parasitics. Whereas the static timing analysis requires the input files such as Verilog, VHDL, SPF, SDF, Liberty timing file, that is .lib. Here we can see the side-by-side comparison of the dynamic and the static timing analysis. So they are altogether different, their inputs are different, the tools are different. By name there is a relation, that is dynamic and static timing analysis, but you can see they are altogether different if we compare side by side and point by point. So the purpose of this slide is done. Let's move on. How STA works first. Now this is very much good question. Let us see how. So far we have seen why STA is preferred. Now you may be wondering how STA works so fast for such a big design such as ASIC or SoC. Let me explain. The IP blocks are characterized by characterization tools such as Liberate. This process of dot leaf generation takes at least a month for any IP vendor for all the standard cells, including all the PVT variants. However, this may take more than a month also if there is some shortage of the tool license. So you have just got an idea how much time does it takes for the characterization data to get generated. Now this creates the slew load delay for each standard cell, that is dot leaf. Thus, with the manpower and effort spent over multiples of a month, slew, load and various kind of delays are pre-characterized and put into a text format called .lib, which is also known as Liberty file. This file also contains basic information of each standard cell. This is read by STA engine, which also read the design data, that is Verilog, VHDL, system Verilog, timing constraints, that is SDC, user defined delays, RCCC parasitics through SPEF file are read by STA engine. All these inputs are processed by the STA engine in less than an hour. Finally, the STA tool hands over the text report to us and we have to analyze the same using the STA concept. So guys, you have seen the entire flowchart of the basic data generation and using of the data for static timing analysis. Now from this picture you can see that the very much pre-characterized data comes from the .lib. Rest of the data which are of the design comes from the Verilog, the VHDL, system Verilog, then SDC, then user defined delays, RCCC from SPEF. All these things are ready, means all these things are ready for the analysis of the STA engine. The STA engine uses its computational intelligence to exhaustively search for all the paths, all the combination of the paths, and from there it reports the timing violation. And these timing violations are very much important for the chip to be qualified for tape out. That means before the tape out we have to clear out all these violations. So we are done with this slide. Let's move on to the next slide. Need of STA concept. In this slide we will explain the need of STA concepts. We have to analyze the STA violation through various STA concepts such as: first, the critical path analysis. Critical means the pessimistic paths here in terms of time traversing in the circuit. Next is the clock to queue delay. So these are pretty common thing in delay analysis, that is clock to queue delay. The next one is register to register delay, reg to reg delay. The next one is AT versus RAT. AT means arrival time, that is actual arrival time of the data for various gates and nets, and the required arrival time means which is defined by the designer. So this is the required arrival time and we are comparing it with the actual arrival time. We'll come up later on this series about the details. The next is on-chip variation, OCV. So OCV nowadays is very much important because of the process variations and all. So these data usually stays inside the .lib as a OCV variation, and we need to analyze these OCV variations also in the output. And there are many more things. So all these concepts come as a text output and you have to use your human intelligence to go to the root cause analysis of which particular category of failure is happening and from where it is happening and how we can prevent that. So that is the main goal of a static timing analysis engineer. Thus, we point out the problem zone of a ASIC chip and rectify the timing violations before signing off or tape out. So we are done with this particular slide. So let's move on. Thank you very much guys for listening up to this point. and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please comment whatever you have liked in the episode, and in case you have some dislikes, please write down. Thank you very much and bye.